welcome to Rookery Bay National Estuarine Research Reserve. My name is Savannah Lawson and I'm an education specialist here at the reserve, and this is Greg Curry, who's an environmental specialist who specifically focuses on running our prescribed burn program. So as you can see here behind us, we did just do a prescribed burn on this area just over a month ago. So we thought that we would actually try to give you guys a little bit more information about what these burns are and why we do them. So to start, Greg, what exactly is a prescribed burn and how is that different than a wildfire?
Okay, so a prescribed burn, there's a prescription that's written, and that prescription has very detailed specifics, whether weather, smoke management, and resources. So under certain weather conditions, we wait for that particular type of weather to show up in order to do the burn. We just don't willy-nilly go out there, wake up, oh, let's just go burn, and then light a fire. So there's a very detailed they call it a prescription, but really it's just a set of parameters that are put in place to carry out that particular burn.
Awesome. And can you explain why exactly it is we do them and what benefits they have both to humans and to the environment?
So most of Florida, of course, the entire Southeast has adapted to, the habitats have adapted for fire. Central Florida is the lightning capital of the world. And with all that lightning, you would normally have fires would have occurred naturally during our beginning of rainy season, end of our dry season, which would be June into mid-June and then to July. It was historically, you would see fire naturally in the state of Florida. But now with the urban interface and more and more people moving down, we just can't let those fires that would start naturally just go on their own. So prescribed fire is a way in order to mimic what lightning fires would have done. Now, here at the reserve, we do tend to do more of our prescribed burns in the dormant season. Dormant season is kind of the winter time. And because of that is weather systems coming in with those northwest fronts. Typically 2 or 3 days after that, you're going to have very, very steady weather patterns. And for here at the reserve, a big thing for us is smoke management. We want to be able to send our smoke away from large population. And when those fronts come through, we typically have a northeast and east wind pattern. Our smoke with that wind direction heads out to the Gulf of Mexico, and we try not to impact as many homes as possible.
Great. How many acres do you burn every year? And how many would you usually do at one time?
So typically for the reserve, our goal each year is 500 acres. That doesn't seem like very much, but you look at how the reserve is sitting with the urban interface, that can be quite a bit. So depending on what our smoke management is doing will change the size of the burn. The largest burn we've ever done at the reserve is 320 acres at one time. This particular burn here was 48 acres. We were planning on doing 200 that day, but the wind had a slight change in direction. So we ended up cutting it down quite a bit, almost a quarter, what we planned on doing because of what the smoke was going to do. So really, I look at it because there's quite a bit of the reserve there's some areas that have not really seen much fire yet. So if we burn an acre or two at a time just to eliminate the fuel load and reduce the emissions of smoke, that's a win-win for everybody. Some of the impacts, if not doing prescribed burning, is when the vegetation gets really high because, again, it grows very, very fast here in Florida. A lightning strike and a wildfire begins, if you don't have good lines and things like that, you could impact some communities. So that's another reason for a prescribed burn program. It's just not for the habitat. It also reduces the risk to wildfire season that may impact homes or houses and anything else like that, developments.
So you hear a lot of people after they see an area that's been burned, they're really concerned about the impact that might have on it, or the way that it looks, or things like that. So what's one thing that you might say to those folks who do get concerned when they see an area that's been burned recently?
Come back a week later, look at it, come back a month later, look at it, and then come back a year later. We do have photo points and some monitoring that we do. So I plan on hopefully, posting pretty much just before the fire, and then immediate post, and then we're going to hopefully at least do 1 year, and then we'll do 2 years. You are hard pressed to tell the difference that a fire even happened here, usually about 1.5 years out.
Cool. Anything else you'd like to add?
And the wildfires, not the wildfire, the wildflowers, are going to be absolutely stunning here when we get our first really good rains.
Awesome. So definitely come back, check out those wildflowers as soon as they start blooming. We're about to hit peak wildflower season. Thanks, Greg, and stay tuned for more information from Rookery Bay Research Reserve.
Have a good day.